What is going on, guys? So today's tutorial is going to be a basic tutorial on mouse and keyboard, how to dribble the ball underneath your car, across the field, being able to manipulate the ball and improve your ground control with the car. So I'm using the Octane. You can really use whatever car you want. If you're new to dribbling, you may find it easier to dribble with a flatter car like the Breakout or the Batmobile or the Mantis. I personally prefer the Octane. It just feels a little bit different. It's a taller car compared to those, so the ball you can influence it left and right a little bit easier, just because it can fall from it's not as flat, I guess, on the top. So anyway, onto the tutorial. I'll link the shot code in the comments below the video here, and let's just basically get into it. So it's one shot. You're positioned here. What you're just going to do to start out with is you're just going to drive straight into the ball, holding forward and nothing more. So I'm just holding forward, I pop it straight into it, and you can see that the ball will, from this position, the ball will hit the nose of the car and then fall off of it. But you get the basic idea here how the ball will sit on top of the car. So to start out with, that's all you're going to do. You drive straight into it from your position, hold the gas entirely, and you see that it hits it and it rolls off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add to that, and we're going to drive and we're going to boost a little bit. And you can see we boost until we get inside the white circle of the underneath the ball. So it pops and then right onto the nose of it, right? So drive into it, drive underneath it. Now, as you can tell, ball cam kind of gets in the way with this, and the reason being is that as soon as you hit the point where you're underneath the ball, the camera turns to look at where you're driving sideways, which isn't what we want. And obviously when you get in front of it, you're now looking behind you. We always want to be looking straight forward where we're driving. The defender is going to be in front of us. The goal is going to be where we're headed towards. So at a very basic level, you want ball cam off so that the camera is always following straight forward where your car is driving toward. So we're going to drive into it, and we're going to, on the very first pop of the ball, we're going to immediately turn ball cam off. So we drive into it, it pops, ball cam comes off. And now you see how that looks. So ball cam's on. I mean, it kind of simulates how you would be in a game. So you're approaching, you have ball cam on, you drive into the ball, and you pop it, and on the very first pop, ball cam comes off. You boost underneath it, and you try and find that white circle underneath the ball. Now at this point, you're no longer paying attention to the ball, you're paying attention to the white circle underneath. So when we drive into it, ball cam comes off, we're looking at the white circle. We're looking at the white circle, not at the ball, right? So ultimately, you pop the ball up, you want to keep your wheels, at least in the Octane, you want to keep your wheels in the center of that circle. I guess any of the cars, ultimately you want the car to be centered underneath in that circle. So if you keep it in the center, the ball is going to stay relatively on top of it. The second that you start going to the right of it, the ball is going to fall to the left. The second you go to the left of it, the ball is going to fall to the right. So, and also if you let it fall to the front, to the nose of the car, like your back wheels are outside that circle, it's going to fall forward and ultimately going to increase the speed of your dribble as you're dribbling it. So you drive into it, ball cam comes off, boost into it. You try to keep, if you do it controlled enough, the ball won't bounce. If you're hitting the ball really fast, especially when you're starting out, the ball's going to bounce more as you try to control it and get that dribble under control. Ultimately, you don't want the ball to be bouncing on your car because it makes it hard to dribble it when the ball is bouncing. So, and that'll happen when you're boosting into it, and every time you hit the ball, you're hitting. Well, can't do it on command, but it happens in a game. So ultimately, you want the ball to be sitting nice and flat and nice and at rest on top of your car. So it kind of becomes a muscle memory thing at that point, using your boost to increase the speed, to stay, rather, using your boost to maintain control. So ultimately, from a fundamental level, your car can only go so fast. Like, you hit this speed right there, you see the supersonic lines, and that's as fast as your car can go. It can't go any faster than that. The ball can still go quite a bit faster than that. So the theory is that you want the ball speed within the level of your car's speed so that you can always either speed up or slow down to maintain your position underneath the ball. So you put that all together, you pop it, you boost underneath it, you want it to rest level, rest on top of your car, and then you should be able to practice from that point just using your boost to keep it there until you can get it in the goal. And then you can add things to that, such as if you drive to the left of the ball's going to fall to the right. And they're very, very small movements underneath the ball. So you're feathering left and you're feathering right and you're feathering forward. You don't use your brake too much because it's a very jerky movement underneath the ball. So if I'm dribbling and I need to correct, just get used to not braking, because the ball, you see, it will immediately just fly off ahead of you. Sometimes you would, but for the sake of learning, just don't do it right now. Ignore your brake. You can do everything you need to do. You can do everything you need to do with your forward, left, and right. You don't even need your emergency brake, really, for a basic dribble mechanic. You just want to keep it underneath it, get it to come to rest. You can even keep, if you let it roll to the front of your car, you're going to increase the speed of the dribble. Conversely, if you let it roll to the back of the car, then you'll need to tap the brake to keep it on top, but you'll slow the you'll slow the speed of the ball. A more controlled version of that, if you need to slow the dribble, is turning it left and right. So boosting into the side of it and then turning the ball will keep it towards the front of your car if you can keep the car in the sweet spot on the side of the ball. So a good practice would be just driving into the side of the ball and getting it to turn without it bumping around too much. So like that. So ball cam comes off, you kind of drift to the left of the ball goes to the right. Then you kind of turn into the ball now that you're in that position to keep it on top of the car. And then using your boost, if you fall out of position on it, it just becomes a muscle memory thing at that point, finding the sweet spot. So that's pretty much all there is to it. Within this training, this single shot here, the ball is elevated a little bit more. I guess I should have said that to start with. The ball is elevated a little bit more than it would be if it were just rolling. So what we've done is we've eliminated the aspect of having to get the ball to pop up, because a lot of people who are learning how to dribble, learning how to ball dribble or whatever the heck this is called, have trouble popping it up and getting it up onto the car, which is an entirely separate skill from keeping it up onto the car. So for the purpose of this tutorial, we've eliminated that aspect of having to figure out how to pop the ball up, much less keep it up. It makes it really easy for you to feel comfortable in the element of the ball on top of your car. So I hope this helps. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them below, and take care. Keep it breezy.